Hi, my name's Dallas McIntosh. I'm main crew for British Airways on the worldwide fleet at London Heathrow, and today you're coming on a trip with me to San Francisco.
Hi, I'm Simone Fuchs. I'm main crew on Eurofleet, and today you'll be joining me on my trip to Vienna.
£6 this morning for an 11:45 check-in, but I do have quite a lot of things to do before I head off for work today. At the moment I'm ordering some groceries on the internet because I'll be too tired to go shopping when I get home on Saturday, and then I've got to take my two dogs for a walk before they get collected by the dog minder.
One of the first things I usually do when I arrive at the crew report centre is go and pick up my duty-free paperwork and float. Though I won't know if I'm operating a duty-free bar until the briefing, there won't be enough time to pick this up afterwards, as we'll go straight to the aircraft.
The type of things that I need to pack in my suitcase depends on where I'm going to be going. Going to San Francisco today, I've checked out the weather on the internet and I know that sadly it looks like it's going to rain. So that involves having warm clothes, waterproof clothes. It's really important always to have things like books, and I take language tapes to brush up on my language skills because it can get quite boring sometimes. I have to make sure that when I'm going anywhere I have clothes that I can wear which are smart in case something goes wrong with the trip. I might have to passenger home. So really it's about always being prepared for the unexpected.
If I've got time before the flight, I'll go and check my pigeonhole just to see if anyone loves me.
I get to work by car, and that takes me anything from 20 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on what the traffic's like. So that's something that I have to be aware of in getting organised for work, as well as to what time to leave, because it's really important not to be late.
Oh my God, really good. Just like passengers, we need to check in by swiping our ID cards. This lets the company know that we're ready and fit to fly. Lucky you. Is it at least a European double or a...
I've just dropped my cabin baggage off in the cabin baggage area, and I'm now about to put my case through security, where I won't see it until the destination at San Francisco. So I've tagged the bag up so that the security staff know which flight I'm going on, and so that my bag comes with me.
The crew report centre is a very sociable place, and it's always nice to grab a coffee and catch up on the gossip. You've just got to be careful not to get too carried away and miss the briefing.
When I check in for the flight, I'll be told on the computer screen the briefing room that I have to go to at the time that I have to be there, the in-charge crew member, the flight crew, and also any personal messages that have been left for me. So that's me checked in for the trip now. Next thing that I have to do is read my safety notices and then get my way to the briefing in good time. Legally, I need to check the red notices, and these are any notices that affect safety in any way. I'm just about to go into the briefing, and as always, I'm quite nervous actually. The first impression does really count here, and this is going to set the tone for the whole trip, so here goes.
Right, introductions. Francis is over there, Thomas next door, Maureen and Melanie there, they're your pursers today, and straight into SUP, which Thomas is going to ask questions.
Hi folks, I'll open it to everybody if you don't mind. In a pre-planned emergency landing, what calls will be made from the flight deck over the cabin address in the final stage of flight?
The briefing is a really important part of the trip, and that's where I will meet all the rest of the crew that I'm going to be working with. The CSD, who's the cabin crew member in charge, conducts the briefing, and after introducing everybody to each other, the CSD will ask questions related to safety and ask questions related to onboard medical situations. After this, the pursers will be invited to give any input that they have. After that, we choose our working positions by seniority, and then the CSD will probably ask if anybody else has anything that they want to add.
I think in the briefings themselves as well, sort of SEP-wise, I mean, when I first started flying, I have to say that sort of not frightened me, but it's just like, what if I get asked a question that I don't know? What if they offload me for not knowing the answer? I think generally these days anyway, so the SEP, it is a team effort, so therefore questions are asked, and it's a sort of a team effort to answer the question correctly.
In the pilot incapacitation drill, on reaching the flight deck, what are the first actions that you must do?
Pull him off the controls.
And make sure that the inertias are fitted, tight so they don't fall back on.
After the briefing, we then make our way downstairs and onto the transport. Once on the bus is actually sealed, and that is as effectively airside.
So that means we don't need to go through security again when we get to the airport. We won't get off the bus until we arrive at the aircraft.
Each crew member is responsible for checking their own safety equipment, because obviously in the event of an emergency, that's the equipment that you're going to use.
We should have 83, so the rest must... One of our first jobs when we arrive in the galley is to check whether all the catering has been loaded. That way, if anything's missing, there's still time to rectify the situation.
We get things organised, the things that we're going to need to do as soon as the passengers arrive, because we only have about 7 minutes from arriving at the aircraft until the first passenger will be on board the aircraft.
Jane, the SEPs at doors 4 are okay, and we're catered 83, and that's including 9 specials.
We have a little saying on board the aircraft, and that is that proper preparation prevents poor performance. Bit of a tongue twister, but it really works.
Right, we've got about 10 minutes to go till we board. There's still lots and lots and lots of stuff to do. Tea needs to be made, of course.
I'm doing the reading today.
Oh yeah, lucky for some, that's just fine, big time. Do you want a cup of tea, Seamus?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Sometimes when I'm standing on the aircraft and the passengers start to board, I think, oh my goodness, what is today going to be like? Because you just don't know. And you have nearly 400 people on a 747 aircraft. Everybody's an individual and everybody's different. Mr. Lighthizer, is that correct?
That's true, yes.
Lighthizer. Would you like me to put anything in the wardrobe for you?
I think I can try.
Okay, I'll pop up and see you in just a second then.
All right.
Can I bring you a newspaper when I come up?
I suppose you have the Times.
I do indeed, yep, certainly, sir. I'll bring that up for you.
Good morning. You get everyone from somebody very famous all the way through to, yeah, your little tot. But you do meet some very, very interesting people from so many different walks of life. And when you start chatting to them, you find out some very interesting things, and I like that.
Fasten your seatbelt securely. If the cabin air supply fails, oxygen will be provided. Masks like this will appear automatically. To open your oxygen supply, stay in your seat and pull the mask.
This will open your oxygen supply. Place the mask over your mouth and nose like this and breathe normally, adjusting the band to secure it. Do make sure your own mask is fitted before helping anyone else. Your life jacket is underneath your seat. In the event of landing on water, remove the jacket from its container and put it over your head.
So, that's us about to take off. Only 11.5 hours to go. Doesn't sound much when you say it quickly.
After After takeoff, as soon as it's safe to do so, we'll leave our seats and start our preparations for the service.
Well, the seatbelt signs have just gone off, and as we have a long flight ahead of us, it's time to have a cup of tea, relax after all the hectic preparations, the boarding and everything that happened before takeoff, and we'll start the service in about 10 minutes.
On short-haul flights, every second counts. We all need to work together in order to get out into the cabin as soon as we can. My first flight, I can remember not knowing where the plastic glasses were and the catering and not being quick enough, not keeping up with the rest of the crew. But I mean, you could quickly get over that anyway, you quickly fall into the system and you get better and better and better.
In Club World, they actually are given menus and wine list, and they then order their choice of hot or cold main course.
In addition to the meal service, we'll always do a drinks round too. On a full flight, you don't get long with each passenger, so you've only got a few seconds to create a really good impression.
During the first bar round, that's really the first contact that you have with a customer at their seat. You'll be able to quickly suss out who does want to talk and who wants to just to be left alone.
The job certainly isn't all glamour, and clearing in is, to me, the least glamorous part of it. It always feels very strange to be thanking people for giving you their rubbish.
Once we've taken their order, we then offer a choice of cold starter, and it's done very much in a restaurant style type of service. We try and make it as relaxed and as professional as we can.
We'll just make this very easy, shall we? And tie it up in a napkin and up you go. Do you want this out for your duty-free?
As soon as we've cleared up after the meal service, it's time to set up the duty-free bar. The big challenge is to make the display look as interesting as possible.
Spot now, aren't I?
Right. Shall we rumble? Yeah.
Once they've had their starter, we then go out and clear away their used plates and cutlery, and that's then followed by their pre-ordered hot or cold main course.
We've just landed in Vienna, the passengers have just got off. We've got about 20 minutes now in which to turn the aeroplane around, catering, engineering, dispatching. In that time we need to have a little bit of food to eat as well, so I think it's time to get on with the show. You seem to spend a lot of your time on the turnaround moving about the aircraft in order to keep out of the way of the caterers and cleaners. Thank you.
52, this one
9. And another 20 to come,
but
yeah?
I have to fill on this one.
Also, noch auffüllen, okay.
What did you try?
Scorpio.
Hey.
Dark secret.
Despite all the things that need to be done before we head back, there's usually always time for a quick natter.
Very good lover.
Am I?
It's supposed to be scorpions are quite passionate.
Yeah, we are passionate.
Chicken or beef? I think it's beef. It's 5 hours into the flight now, and I'm having the chance to have a crew meal. We've run out of forks and knives, so it's either eat it with my fingers or use a spoon, so I'm going to use a spoon. Between you and me, this is my favourite part of the flight. This is where we get to have sleep for a few hours. So I've got my earplugs, I've got my water, and I'm going to have some kip. No laughing at my pyjamas.
Oh really? Are you here for a week? Yeah. Do you go to see any concerts at all?
No.
If you've brought more than one item of hand luggage on board, if you could pop the larger item in the overhead lockers in a sideways position and the other item underneath the seat in front of you, just so we can make maximum use of the very little space we've got on board. Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren, und herzlich willkommen an Bord. Nur ganz schnell eine kleine Notiz wegen Ihrem Handgepäck. On the return sector, we do it all again, the meal service and the duty-free sales. Although one of us has the responsibility of the duty-free bar, everyone helps out because we work as a team and of course we all share the commission. Before landing into London, we must complete all the necessary bar paperwork and seal the bars. On arrival into London, the crew bus will be waiting to take us straight back to the crew report centre, where I'll be able to finish my duty-free paperwork. The last thing I have to do is pay in the sales money before going home. Well, that's it. It's the end of a very busy day. I'm off home. It's 3:15. I'll be picking my man up from the airport first, and thanks for spending the day with me.
Oh, that was 2.5 hours rest I've just had, and it feels like 20 minutes ago that I came up here. Oh, it always goes so quickly, and now I've got to get up, get changed, and do it all over again. We do have a responsibility to make sure that people are offered drinks throughout the flight, non-alcoholic drinks, so that people are remaining hydrated. Everyone's asleep now, so it's time for me to catch up with some current affairs. It's a job that makes you tired. You will be exhausted at the end of a long day, and it's something as well that has an impact on your lifestyle, because your days off will be spent recovering from jet lag, recovering from tiredness, and getting ready for your next trip. Today is a 5-day San Francisco, so that involves having 4 nights there. So it's really important to have things to do, because I've got 2 whole days which are completely free of duty. If you don't have things planned or have the ability to seek out some kind of recreation, then it's going to be boring. It's quite important, working in a big team of people that you don't know, to be sensitive to things like good manners. So when we get to the hotel, I'll be very careful not to run up to the desk and check in before people that have been flying a lot longer than me, because it's just a mark of respect. Really?
Spooky.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing when you think of all the history that's involved with it there. It's, yeah, it's amazing. Brilliant view of Alcatraz from here, definitely worth a visit when in San Francisco, but I would really recommend spending the night in the crew hotel rather than over there.
Jeans with blue, Harley Davidsons too, on a warm San Francisco day. Old jeans, young jeans, British Airways, on a warm San Francisco day. I wasn't born here. That guy flew here. There's no other way to go. British Airways, yeah.
Yeah, another lot of rubbish that I don't need. Well, shopping with jet lag, hamstering a ball, yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the trip with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you an insight into the life as cabin crew. Good luck on the course, safe flying, and bye-bye.